Let's go. You people standing up in the back, can you take a seat, please? Start it here, okay? I have an easy way with words. All right. My name is Bill Halstead. I'm the president of this group. I want to thank all of you for coming, and especially the award winners. I want to make it perfectly clear that all the money that's raised here tonight goes out into scholarships for the cheerleaders and the football players of the Philadelphia High School All-Star football game. That's what it was intended to be way back, and when this fell apart, the Hall of Fame, we revived it, and I know there's another Hall of Fame going on tonight, but we look and we take in the people that are most deserving. These are the people that help the kids. And that's what this is all about. Okay? We're going to have a great night. And I just want to read a message here that came from City Council Frank Rizzo. Every one of the award winners has one. I just happened to pick up Vince Miller's. Why, I don't know. But I'm going to read the one that was given to him. Each one has something about the individual, and it's from Frank Rizzo, City Council. It's a proclamation, and it says, "Please accept my sincere congratulations for being inducted into the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame. As a teammate of Wilt Chamberlain and a successful basketball coach at Frankfort High School before becoming a scout for the 76ers, you made many tremendous contributions to the world of sports. You brought honor to Philadelphia, and we are proud of you." We have a new football coach in town, Coach Al Golden. He's in the back of the room. I asked him to have a seat, but he said he doesn't have the time because he has to get the team in shape so he can bring a championship in college football back to Philadelphia. Yeah. Welcome to the city, Coach. All right, right now I want to bring up 4 lovely ladies. They're cheerleaders in the high school all-star game. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I'll bring up Mr. Jim Murray, and he's going to do the invocation, and then he's going to present an award. I'd like to bring up, all these girls are from Cardinal Doherty High School: Jessie Seawright, Danielle Steele, Holly Macher, and Christina Hamilton.
I pledge allegiance.
Come to rise.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless.
Thank you. Great job. Great job. I want to bring Jim Murray up for the invocation.
Blessed are you, Lord God of all creation. For it is through your goodness that we are gathered here this evening to honor and perpetuate the memory of the men and women who have brought lasting fame to the state of Pennsylvania through their athletic achievements. We are grateful for the blessings you have bestowed on us, athletes, coaches, officials, and administrators. And we ask you, God, to bless what we are about to eat and what we are about to do tonight, tomorrow, and always. Amen.
Somebody's going to put it here. Okay.
If I could have Dennis Hill please come to the podium. While Dennis is if we could have your attention, please. The William H. Marquardt Basketball Club for 60 years has honored the young men who have played basketball at the high schools in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia Catholic League, in the Philadelphia Public League, and in the Inter-Academic League. And for that 60 years of service, and many of you perhaps do not know that this is the only basketball club in the country that honors high school young men in this manner. And for 60 years, the Marquardt Club has been doing this. And for that, we, the City All-Star chapter of the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame, honor and salute the William H. Marquardt Club. Dennis Hill.
On behalf of the committee of the Banquet Club, we thank you for this honor, and we hope to serve this community again for 60 more years. Thank you very much.
Here we go, guys. Here we go. A couple more. One more. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
I just want to recognize a couple of the people that I'm not the only guy that does all the work in this organization. There's a bunch of people. We have all the board members. I'd like all the board members to stand up. Come on, stand up. And I want to give a couple. They're over here. They're all over, all right? And I want to thank them for all they do and for all the help that they give me. Now, I want to introduce our MC for tonight. The man's name is Vince Papale. In 1976, at the age of 30, I couldn't read this guy's whole bio because it's about 9 pages. So I just took a couple of the most important ones that I felt were worthy of being recognized. In 1976, at the age of 30, Vince tried out for the Philadelphia Eagles, made the team, and became the oldest rookie in the history of the NFL. And he still is. He was with the Eagles for 4 seasons as a wide receiver and was voted special teams captain by his teammates. A shoulder injury ended his career. Papale was voted Man of the Year by the Eagles in 1978 for his many charitable activities and honored by the NFL. After being retired by the Eagles after the 1979 season, he was a TV and radio broadcaster for 8 years. After that, Vince entered the world of commercial mortgage banking, which led to his present position as a marketing executive and special projects director for Sallie Mae, the nation's #1 student financial aid company. Vince is involved with several of the area's nonprofit organizations. He has received the Chapel of the Four Chaplains Humanitarian Award, the United Way's Gold Award, and the JC's Distinguished Service Award. And as mentioned, in 1978 was a finalist for the Byron Wizard White Award, presently annually to the NFL player who shows the highest level of community awareness and involvement. Papale is married to the former Janet Cantwell. They reside in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, with their 2 children, Gabriella and Vincent. Janet is a former member of the USA World Gymnastics team and has coached and taught gymnastics all over the world. They are the only married couple to have been inducted individually into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. This is the best part. They're making a movie about this guy. A movie about Vince Papale called The Invincible is set for release this fall. I asked Vince when it was coming out. He said he didn't know. So we'll leave it at that. The principal photography by Disney has been completed, and the movie is in post-production. It features Mark Wahlberg as Papali, Greg Kinnear as the former Eagles coach, Dick Vermeil, Elizabeth Banks as Janet, and Michael Norrie as Leonard Toast. Without any further, I'd like to bring Vince up. And again, thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much. It's funny, you know, Milt said I was retired in 1979. That's a real, Jim Cooper knows this, that's a real polite way of saying I got fired in 1979, you know. But it's all good, life is so good. Now, Milt had asked me, a lot of people were asking me about this movie. Can you believe it? I mean, a movie? I'm a pig farmer's son. My mom and dad never got beyond the eighth grade. You know, my mom, a great athlete. I told this story when I was inducted back in 1933 here at the City All-Star. My mom playing for a team called St. Raphael Bobbies, and just a tremendous athlete. And she played professional baseball up and down the East Coast. And Al Meltzer used to hate this because her name was Elmira, and they used to call her Big Al. And yeah, I say, Al, you're not the first Big Al in town. It was my mom. He couldn't stand it that it was a female that was a real Big Al in Philadelphia. And my dad growing up in pig farm, and here I am, they're making this movie. It's like the greatest thing, and I'm so honored to be here, to be a part of the City All-Star banquet that we have tonight, and being your MC. I know Harry Donahue, my partner in crime from St. Joe's, and also we did some broadcasting together with the Philadelphia Stars. We've been together for a long time, and Milt gave me a call and asked me to come out to help out, and I'm just so pleased to be here. I found out today, I have to give you a little secret, I found out today when the movie was coming out, but it's like one of those things, if I told you I'd have to kill you kind of deal, you know? So I'm just saying, you know, it's going to be out in the fall, it's really cool. We've got some guys in the room. Where's the officials who were in the movie? There they are. They just really spice the action up. Where's the guys that were in the movie? Oh, well, they're back. They're probably back at the bar. That's where they were when they were filming. So, but you know, this is a great thing for me, but it's really not about me. This movie is going to be called Invincible. Here's what it's all about. I was just a kid with a dream. We have a lot of dreamers in this room. We have a lot of people that went through a lot of struggles. We want people who went through obstacles to get to where they got. That's all that's about. And what this movie Invincible about that's being produced by Mark Ciardi and Gordon Gray, by the way, that did Rookie and Miracle, so we think it has a nice pedigree. What this is about, it's about triumph over adversity. That's what it's about. What this movie's about is basically a tribute to everybody that's right up here at the dais tonight for the City All-Star Awards Banquet, and that's what it's about. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it. So I'm not going to say much more other than it's really an honor to be here. Thank you very, very much. We're going to try to keep this thing quick, fast-paced, funny, whatever it is. You know, we have 2-minute warnings on the speakers, and but whatever, how long it takes, because they have some great things to say. And with that, why don't I take a moment, and I would like, if I could, introduce to you our dais, and we'd like to start all the way to stage right, my left, and Jack Moore, honoree. Jack, say hi to Jack. There we go. And Dr. Jerry T. Kasunis is seated next to Jack, but it's his brother that is, I think Jim is standing in. Is that correct?
Nephew.
Nephew, okay. His nephew Jim is standing in for Dr. Kasunis. And next to the nephew would be, who do we have? Jim Murray, who we know from St. Joe's Prep, just gave that great invocation. Vince Miller from Overbrook, honoree, next to... All right, Vince. That's a little fan club there. Ron Marinucci, honoree, is next to Vince. Congratulations, Ron. Honoree Fred Hauser. Fred, say hi. See this guy's mug on the Golf Channel all the time. Tony Leodora? Yes, sir. And right next to me on my left is Don Flynn. Say hi, Don. And Milt Halstead, of course, the president of the City All-Stars. Milt, of course. Joe DeMeo, right next to Milt. All right, to the DeMeos. This guy just busted me. He showed me his Super Bowl ring. His Super Bowl ring. And he gets it on his rookie year, right? Jim Cooper. All right, Jim. All right, well, come on. Anybody out there is rooting for Joe Colester? Come on, top that. Let's go. Joe Colester, there you go. That's it. It's all about quality, not quantity, right? And next to Joe is Eddie Burke, Coach Eddie Burke. And this guy's getting honored tonight, the great from the Philadelphia Eagles, Billy Ray Barnes. And the president of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, that would be Stanley Radikowski. Stanley, Dr. Radikowski. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Mind you, we're going to serve food, and we'll be back as soon as we get this dinner over with. So have a great evening, and we'll be talking to you later on. Thank you.
You people at the head table, can you take your seats? The Invincible Man, and we're going to start with the program. John.
You gotta get closer. You gotta get closer.
All right, everybody, thank you. Have a great dinner. I hope you had a wonderful dinner, and thank you. You know, we had a Dick Vermeil. I had the pleasure of playing for Dick Vermeil. What a wonderful guy. I also had the pleasure of being inducted with Dick Vermeil back in 1993. He always had this great saying. He says, you got to I&A it. You have to I&A it. Anybody that's a coach out here, anybody that's a player out here that played the game, they know what I&A it means. You got to improvise and adjust. It's all about making an audible. So that's what tonight is. It's going to be an audible. We're going to be flying. We have a little bit of a roster or a program, but we're just going to fly with it. And first thing I think I'd like to do is to start with our president. I'd like to come up and say a few words to us, and he's the president of Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. And that's Dr. Stanley Radikowski. Doctor?
On behalf of the 27 chapters and the 7,000 members of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, I want to bring you greetings. I want to thank City All-Star Chapter President Milt Halstead and Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame Senior Vice President Joe D'Angelo for their kind invitation for me to be here tonight. I'm pleased to share tonight with you as 11 living and 1 deceased athletic greats will be added to the annals of the City All-Star Chapter Honor Roll. As such, you're fulfilling a major function of local chapters, and that's being to honor the exploits of past athletic greats. On the state level, we share a similar goal. Currently, ballots are being received from all members of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. Your membership as in the City All-Star Chapter entitles you to vote your choices from among the 21 living and 6 deceased candidates. Just as the highlight of the City All-Star Chapter this evening is the induction of the people here at the main table, the highlight of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame will be the induction of the class of 2006 at the State Hall of Fame scheduled for Saturday, November 4 at Genetti's Best Western Inn in Hazleton. So if you're currently a member of Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, get your ballot in. If you want to be a member, $5 to any city chapter member will ensure you local and state membership along with voting privileges. As I read the following words, penned by Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame President Emeritus Paul Boltz, think about the people sitting on the dais tonight and how these words seem to be fitting to them. Paul Boltz wrote, "A Hall of Fame is a lot more than an overblown closet for some old relics. It's intended to be a repository for all things great about a sport. Its moments, its men, its methods. Most of all, it's supposed to be about Hall of Famers who define the quality of athletics, who lead the right kind of life, a life of integrity for which there is no compromise. To the City All-Star Chapter and members of the class of 2000, please accept my congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much. All right. How many remember that great game against those Green Bay Packers back in 1960? I remember listening to that game. Bill Campbell was calling the game, right? The great voice of Bill Campbell, 14 years old, in my room down in Glen Olden. There it is, just bleeding Eagles green. Tommy McDonald, my idol. They got this guy on the team, a great running back from North Carolina, Billy Ray Barnes. All right, Mr. Barnes, a three-sport star in baseball, football, and basketball, scoring over 1,500 points. We assume that was for basketball. And he enrolled at Wake Forest University. And Bobby Caesar, they were freshmen together, Bobby Caesar, right at Wake Forest. And Billy Ray led the team in rushing and punt returns, kickoff returns, pass interceptions, and pass receptions. And he set the ACC record in pass receptions. And they became the first player in ACC history to rush for more than 1,000 yards in a single season. And then in addition to his accomplishments in football, he was quite a baseball player, hitting .319 and leading the league in stolen bases. Great speed this guy had. Drafted in the second round of the '57 NFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles, and he became the Eagles' leading rusher and went on and was an All-Pro for 3 consecutive years, and certainly a key member of that backfield in 1960 along with Ted Dean, who won the World's Championship against the Green Bay Packers. And then eventually he retired with the Minnesota Vikings in 1966. Went on as a coach, and he was with the New Orleans Saints, with Tom Fears, and he's receivers coach from 1969 to 70. And then from 71 to 74, coaching with the Atlanta Falcons, and reunited with the great Norm Van Brocklin. A lot of those guys that are still in town are, of course, going to be down at the Sheridan Society Hill, being honored tonight with the Philadelphia Hall of Fame. And it's with great pleasure that I introduce to you, from the championship Philadelphia Eagles 1960, Billy Ray Barnes. Oh, here we go.
Okay, guys, get a little closer together. Here we go. 2,
right.
Real quick. 1, 2. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy, it's all yours. Let me get this out of your way.
Let's put this out of here. God damn, that was almost impossible to go through all of that. I came in Philadelphia in 1957, and I fell in love with this city. I got the mic on, can't you hear?
You gotta get real close to it. Take it, put it, yeah, take it out.
Can you hear now? Like I said, I came here in 1957, second round draft choice of Philadelphia Eagles, and I fell in love with Philadelphia. The hometown I come from, Landis, North Carolina, you could get all of them in this room. So you can understand why I fell in love with Philadelphia. I fell in love with Philadelphia because of the fans and the people of Philadelphia. I have friends here tonight that I met in 1958 playing with the Philadelphia Eagles. I got people I went to Wake Forest with in 1953 from New Jersey here tonight. And that's amazing. And the friends that I met, congratulations to all of you up here that's going in the chapter. All of the times that I've been here, I never dreamed that somebody from Landis, North Carolina would go into the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame. It never entered my mind, but I'm going to accept it. I am honored and very privileged to be a member. And I'm probably one of the luckiest guys that ever lived tonight, because I'm also being inducted in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame downtown. I got 18 or 19 of my members. Thank you. Some of you old enough to remember 1960. But I think there's 18 or 19 of them downtown tonight in the Sheraton, and they're, like I say, they're inducted us in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. I love you. I love the fans of Philadelphia, and thank you so much. Bobby Caesar, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Billy. Think those guys going to have a good time tonight? Woo, be setting their hair on fire. Some of the stories will be told. John Pergine, where are you? Great quarterback, Plymouth White Marsh, Minnesota Vikings, Notre Dame. Come on, John, stand up. Say hi to everybody. All right, we're going to pick out two of these raffles. Here we go. You feeling lucky? Take them out. We're going to, between every guest, we're going to draw off two of the items that you've taken chances for. So here we go, starting with 728093. 728093. No, this isn't bingo, this is a raffle. 728093. So if you think we're going to just go in the order that you see in this book, forget about it. We're not going to do that. So that's one of the audibles that we're doing, okay? So we're going to move on now to Joe Calestra. Joe Calestra Jr. graduated from LaSalle High School in 1964, where he played football for John Flannery and was selected to the All-Catholic and to the Philadelphia All-Scholastic football team as an offensive and defensive tackle. He went on to play college football at Villanova University for the great Alex Bell back in 1964-1968. Joe is currently a teacher at LaSalle College High School, where he began his coaching career as an assistant to Tex Flannery in 1968. And he had been the head football coach since '84 and retired after the '05 season after gaining the most wins in LaSalle football history, winning 4 Catholic League titles and being named for the 3rd time as a Philadelphia Catholic League Coach of the Year. Upon retiring from football after 38 years of coaching, Joe intends to continue to teach economics and history and also to carry out his duties as Department Chairman of Social Studies at LaSalle High School, as well as remain an adjunct professor of economics at LaSalle University. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Calestra. Here, we got to do the official stuff first, Joe. Get rid of the glasses. There you go. I'm honored to be here.
Okay, guys, look this way. 2. 1, 2. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Vince. You know, being up here on the podium and seeing so many football and basketball officials, I feel like a fish out of water. All these stories that are running around up here. In any case, I'm trying to think about something I wanted to say to you tonight. Everybody here is involved in some sport, my sport being football. I thought you'd want to know just from my heart what football has meant to me. My father died when I was very young, and I eventually entered LaSalle High School, and I found a father as my football coach. I don't think I've ever put into those words, and I won't embarrass him, but I think that meant more to me when I had my own children, when I realized that there was somebody out there who could sort of tell it like it is to me and consider him as a father figure. And football gave me that. I also found kind of a role model in someone who coached me and taught with me, and I realized real soon that his values were sort of the same as mine, and I sort of patterned what I wanted to do after what he did. I became a coach and a teacher at LaSalle, and that was important to me, and football gave that to me. I also, as everyone else up here will recognize, in coaching and in playing, I found a lot out about myself. You know, I learned the meaning of perseverance. You never really know what losing, how painful losing is until you win, and you really don't know how gratifying winning is until you lose. And that takes something to learn. I also learned about commitment and dedication to a goal. And lately, since I've been coaching with people who are a lot younger than me, I learned to take young people at where they are and who they are. I learned to take them seriously. I learned from them, my coaches, that if you reward them with positive statements, they'll grow. And once again, I learned that from football. And I'm sure that had I been a ballerina dancer or you know, played the piccolo in the Philadelphia Orchestra, as one of my friends does, I would have gained
such experiences, but I was lucky enough to do it by playing a game, and a game that I loved. And what's perhaps most important to me is those people in my life who I learned these things from are here tonight. And as is my family, and of course, you know, in busy times, it's not often that you get together with your family. But once again, football is the way that we're together. My wife, Pat, my daughter, Amy, and her husband, Craig, my son, Joseph, and his girlfriend, Julia, and my youngest son, Paul. And so proud to have them here tonight with me. And I'd have to say, Milt, thank you. And Fran Doherty, thank you for nominating me and bringing me into this great organization. Congratulations to everybody up here.
Are we going to draw for a couple of more? Two. Any teacher, any coach, stand up, please. Any teacher, any coach. Come on, stand up, come on, come on. All teachers, all coaches, stand up, please. Thank you. How about a big round of applause? As Joe just so eloquently, I can't believe I got eloquently out. Because I got fired from Channel 10 because I couldn't articulate the language, especially with that teleprompter going in front of me. But eloquently, as he said so beautifully. Listen, you know, I told you my parents never got beyond the 8th grade, and if it weren't for a school teacher, my coach, and I'm not ashamed to say who it is, George Corner, from Interborough High School, where I went, eventually wound up at Radnor. Wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing up here talking to you as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles or a former member of the Philadelphia Eagles. So any of us and all of us, I know that we could point out that one or two teachers that we've had, and we could say, you know what, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be to where we are today. So thank you, Joe. That was beautiful. We really appreciate it. Here we go. Feeling lucky. 728-297. 78062. Bobby Clark, where are you? You in the room? Is he still here?
He might have left.
All right, he might have left, but anyway, I wanted to recognize the president of the Maxwell Football Club. You know, the great job that they do honoring scholar athletes, football players in the Delaware Valley. And Bob Clark was here. And Patrice Cohill, I guess you'll accept his recognition on her. Patrice Cohill from Temple University, please stand up too. Come on, Patrice, get up. Say hi. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our next honoree, the great Fred Hauser. Spent 35 years in the Philadelphia public school system. Yes, all right, go ahead, cheer. Give him a big round of applause. Beautiful. 35 years in the Philly public school system, dedicating himself to the youngsters, beginning his teaching career upon graduation from Temple University after stints at Penn Treaty and Jones Junior High School. Fred came to Roxborough High School, where after serving as an assistant coach, he took over the head job. And he served as a head coach from the mid-50s until 1968, where he won a league title in 1957, co-championship in 62, and co-city champs in 1963. During this team, he had 26 All-Publics, 5 All-States, and 1 All-American player, and the only football coach ever to win a title at Roxborough. Many awards have come Fred's way with good reason. He's won the William Stecker Outstanding Teacher Award. He's been enshrined in the Northeast High School Wall of Fame and the Delaware Valley Coach of the Year. And Fred Hauser, an outstanding football coach, teacher, and leader of young men, in whom he has instilled with the quality of his own life. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you our next honoree, Fred Hauser.
I'd like to add my congratulations to the inductees tonight. If it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here tonight. It was just a little over a year ago. I was in, Fox Chase Cancer Center, recovering from major surgery. And I'm so thankful for the skill of the surgeons, the good care of the nurses, the prayers of my wife and children, and my many friends. And I came through, and I'm feeling great and going strong. just 2 bummers happened from the operation. My surgeon told me that I could no longer play football, basketball, or wrestle. That was a bummer. Then my oncologist said that the chemo, I might lose my hair, but if I got lucky, it might come back curly, and he lied. So, but I kind of feel like George Burns when they celebrated his 100th birthday. He told the audience, "It's great to be here tonight, and at my age, it's great to be anywhere." I kind of feel like ancient history. It was 37 years ago that I retired as a coach. Over half a century ago that I began coaching. So I'm ancient history, and I'm just thankful that some people remembered some ancient history. I want to particularly thank Ron Halley and Joe D'Angelo from Roxborough for your nomination. I'd like to thank Bobby Caesar and Milt for their help in this. These guys are a lot older than they look. Bobby was coaching at Lincoln with Mo Weinstein when I was still coaching. Milt was coaching football in the Public and Catholic League, and he tried to tell me it wasn't him, it was his father. But it was Milt. I have some of my players here tonight, and they're the reason I am here tonight. And I want to thank all of you for your dedication to Roxborough High School, to the football program, to each other, and to your coaches. And fellas, thanks. There's no way I'd be here without you guys. I'd just like to, if any of you remember, Bob Hope would always end his programs, and he'd sing, "Thanks for the memories." I'll spare you the singing, but thank you for remembering, and thank you for this honor tonight.
There you go. Great job.
One more.
All right. Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay. Here we go. Thank you. Well, we weren't going anywhere. It's all right. There you go. Just
Go to the back. What's he standing up? Tell him to go to the back.
Yeah, I guess they want you to go to the back to confirm that ticket. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next honoree. This guy's like an institution. I just love hanging around and being around him. Eddie Burke. Eddie Burke's career has been marked by a few things, many things, I shouldn't say few. Excellence, devotion to coaching at all levels, loyalty to St. Joseph's Prep, and dedication to his family. On all marks, he's been a success. Although best known for his coaching prowess, Eddie's also an outstanding player at St. Joe's Prep, helping guide the team to the Catholic League title in '62 and tying for the scoring title in '63 when he's also served as a co-captain. And then he went on to play 3 seasons with LaSalle, and then he tore his knee up, and then that pretty much ended his basketball career as a player. But after graduating from college, he returns to his alma mater as coach of the freshman team, and by the end of the year, he winds up coaching the varsity and eventually leading the Prep to the league title in 1971. And then Eddie moves on to Drexel, and he rebuilds the program and helps it emerge from the shadows of the Philadelphia Big Five. And in 1986, Eddie's team won the East Coast Conference Championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament along with 3 other city schools, and that's the trivia for tonight. Name those 3 other city schools, okay? And during his tenure, Eddie's influenced dozens of coaches. Most notably, he coached Phil Martelli, St. Joe's head coach. Yes, the Hawk will never die. Where's my buddy Billy McFadden? There he is. The Hawk will never die. And also Jay Wright at Villanova, Joe Cassidy, the Rowan head coach, Pat Flannery, the Bucknell head coach, and Whitey Rigsby, the Villanova color analyst. They were all assistants at Drexel with Coach Burke. So, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for the man, Eddie Burke. Yeah, let me get my stuff out of the way.
That was very difficult for Vince to mention that Jay Wright was
an assistant coach with me because being a St. Joe guy, they don't really care for the Villanova people too much. But I'd like to thank Jim Murray for nominating me and the selection committee for choosing me for this prestigious award. I'd like to thank my wife, Betty Ann, the wind beneath my wings. She's been there the whole time for me. My children, who have been very supportive, my brothers and sister, all my former assistant coaches, and all my former players and their parents and everybody who was associated with us, and also all the wonderful people in Philadelphia. There's many of you here tonight because of my basketball travels that I've been familiar with, and I'd like to thank you all very much, and congratulations to all the honorees, and thanks again. Thanks. The number is 728-568. I think it's Vince Papali. And the other one is 728-423. BA, I think that's yours. Thanks.
All right, here we go. 728-568. Did we get that one? Have winners back there? Oh, well, you were wrong about Villanova there, Eddie. I was rooting for Villanova. Like, who didn't root for Villanova in the NCAA? I mean, how great was that? Did they bring some pride to Philadelphia? You got to root for those Philly teams. And Jay Wright, I remember Jay when he came out of college, the first guy he worked for was me, believe it or not. I was working with the Philadelphia Stars, so I go way back with Jay and actually introduced him to his wife. And I'm not sure he's still, yeah, he's got a beautiful wife and a great family. So Jay Wright, by the way, Eddie, has some nice things to say about you. He couldn't be here this evening. So here's a letter that we just received from Jay, and it says, "Dear Eddie, congratulations on this wonderful honor. I can't think of anyone who deserves it more than you do. Thank you for all of your help throughout my career. You have been a true mentor and friend. I'm sorry I can't be there tonight or here tonight to share in your special evening. I will be attending award ceremonies in Atlanta and Los Angeles." I mean, this kid's just gobbling them up, isn't he? "And I hope you have a great evening with your family and friends. It's well deserved. You're one of the best coaches the city of Philadelphia has ever seen, but more importantly, you are the best friend anyone can have. Enthusiastically, Jay Wright, head basketball coach, Villanova University." How great is that, huh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you John Jack Robert Moore. Jack coached baseball for Fishtown AC 24 years with a record of 364 and 87. And just look at this resume that Jack has here. Northeast Catholic JV baseball. Scouted 7 years for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Detroit Tigers. Coached Sandlot football from the 135-pound all the way up to the 150-pound for 18 seasons, winning 15 championships. I love this. Coached Fishtown's Rough Touch football team 4 years in a row. He's umpired 47 years in baseball and softball. Runs the junior softball league in Fishtown, and started the Fishtown AC Alumni Association in November of 1990, and he's been chairman all 16 years. He's given close to $35,000 to the children in the Fishtown area, scholarships that is, and he's been honored by KYW 1060 as one of Philadelphia's 40 local legends in September of 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Moore. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's a great honor to be here. And more, it's a great honor to be selected by this fantastic organization. I've given 55 years of my life to Fishtown, and I wouldn't take one day back. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to work with so many fantastic people. I was told before I came tonight, you're going to know a lot of people there. Well, that's for sure. I bumped into people I haven't seen in 35 and 40 years, the McArdle family, Franny from North Catholic. I mean, some of my best friends and best ball players are sitting at a table somewhere in here. Every honor means something down deep, but this one has to be something special. Tonight, I accept this award. I accept it on behalf of every player that's ever walked on the baseball field or football field and played ball for me. They're the reason, they're the real reason that I'm here tonight. For without them, I know I wouldn't stand here. I know that. And I know that the honor should be going to them. So I accept this with all my heart, and I dedicate this night to those players that's played all these years for me as a coach. I don't want to take any more of your time because I know there's other people to talk. So thank all of you. From Fishtown, thank you. Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, here we go. 2, 1, 2.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice job.
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you.
I just had the great pleasure of having a couple conversations with this guy just a few minutes ago. He came up and he says, I went to high school with your wife. And he remembers Janet when she's a gymnast at Northeast Catholic. And he said, we all used to go to the gym and just watch these amazing things that she used to do on the bars and whatever she did. And Janet actually wound up being on the USA team. So pretty cool. But I was asking him questions about what it was like to be an NFL official. So maybe he'll tell us a few of those stories. Ron Marinucci is our next honoree. And he graduated from that great Northeast High School in 1970, a member of the 1969 Public League football champs. Then he went on to graduate from Glassboro State College. For all you kids in the area, and the house tonight, Glassboro State now is Rowan, right? You know, but that was before that $100 million endowment. So Ron began his football officiating career at the Sandlot level in 1971, begins in the Sandlot. And then since then, he's had many outstanding experiences, beginning as an official in the Association of Registered Conference Officials. That's known as ARCO, first as a member and eventually as president of the organization for 5 years. And then he moves into the college ranks in 1981 and promoted to the Division I-A, AA in 1986. And then he went off to the Big East Conference and he entered the World Football League. That must have been pretty wild. And then 1994, on to the NFL in 1996. Ron currently holds the position of NFL head linesman, number 107 on your program, and he's in his 10th season, and he's been fortunate to work 3 Army-Navy games, numerous college bowl games, including a Rose Bowl in 1996, Arizona versus Ohio State. And he's also officiated several playoff games in the NFL, including 2 AFC championships. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Marinucci from Northeast High School. Yeah, let's get this out of the way first, Coach. There you go.
Okay, guys, here we go. 2, 1.
Beautiful. You're welcome.
Thanks, Vince. I'm not quite as good as the rest of these guys are, so I jotted down a couple of notes, and they won't stay still. Strangely, I never imagined in 1971 that football officiating or the game of football would ever take me the places that it's taken. It's taken me from one coast to the other, basically from Mexico to Europe, just to do a football game, to officiate a football game. And I always kind of wondered why they could never find anybody who was a little closer than sending me to Mexico or sending me to San Francisco to do a football game. But unfortunately, that's the way football officiating is. You go where they send you. I started working football officiating in the Little Guys Conference. I don't see Jack Gallagher out here tonight. That was a little 65-pound knee sack league. Some people think that I should have stayed there. I think a whole lot of people think that I should have stayed there, but I was fortunate enough to always be in the right place at the right time. My first high school game, Jimmy Woodside called me up and said, we need an unfamiliar face to go out to Germantown today. Could you be that unfamiliar face? I'm there. When I first got into college, same thing. somebody came out to watch a football game and scout somebody else. They didn't like the somebody else, but they happened to mention to one of our other current NFL officials, John Slyer, hey, John, I saw a guy out on the field that I really liked. Do you know this guy, Ron Marinucci? I was still working in college. John called me up and he said, hey, did you ever put an application into the NFL? I said, John, I really did. And he said, well, you ought to think about putting one in. Well, I did put one in, and John, everybody is on my wife's Christmas list. You still are not. And those that officiate football, especially the wives, will know what that means, because football officiating, as coaching does, takes you away at the holidays, at Christmas, at Thanksgiving. A heck of a lot of weddings I've missed in the fall. In fact, I haven't seen a wedding in fall in a real long time. But I loved everything I did. I loved every place I went. I loved every game that I worked. Every game was a big game, and every game should be a big game. Just go out there and do your best. And remember, it's not always about winning or losing. It's about just being there for the experience. If you love the game, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. You're always a winner when you're in the game. Just in closing, I'd like to say thanks to a couple people in this room who have really helped my career along. I mentioned Jimmy Woodside in the public league, Jimmy Woodside, Ron Halley, Joe Stanley, and Warren Conrad. 4 supervisors that gave me the opportunity to work some of the greatest high school football that you'll ever want to see. Ray Perry in the Catholic League gave me an opportunity to work in that league, and that's where I really learned how to officiate, in the sandlots and in the Philadelphia high school football leagues. That's where you learn to officiate. So thanks to you guys. I really appreciate everything that you've done for me. And I'd also like to thank someone who's not here tonight. A lot of you people know Art McNally, a longtime supporter of Eastern officiating. And to Art, who couldn't be here tonight, I say thank you very much. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. The one time that I'm doing something, imagine, she didn't want to show up. She's actually being honored tonight at Jefferson University for her work in cancer research. So she's downtown and I'm uptown. But I'd like to say thank you to her for putting up with me for the last 27 years, going to all those weddings by herself. And I'd also like to thank my daughter Michelle, who I missed a lot of her softball games when I worked in NFL Europe. I missed a lot of events at school because I was out doing a football game. You've been so understanding, and I thank you so much. Lastly, I have to thank one guy in this room who has listened to all my BS for a heck of a long time, who has been next to me for the last umpteen years in our family business, and who has been so supportive of me. I can't tell you how much and how great it is to have a brother like Steve, who was always there for me, and hopefully will still be there for me. So, but again, thanks to you and Ralph, Andy, all you guys who put on the stripes. It's a thankless job. Yeah, there's my sister too. So. And lastly, I'd just like to dispel one rumor that's going around, probably started by somebody else. Yes, I did work a game on my wedding day. In fact, I worked a doubleheader on my wedding day. So to that, again, I say to my wife, thanks for all your patience. And I'd like to thank Philadelphia chapter for being so gracious to me. So I'll bet a lot of guys never top that. So thanks again, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Yeah, and he thinks his wife went to those weddings by herself, right? Hey, Mel, bring out the pictures. Who's this beautiful young lady pulling these things out?
Gina Miller. That's Pop-Pop's girl.
Gina, hi. On a serious note, Ron, it was pretty cool the way you talked about just going out there and being a part of it. the great George Foreman. He was going to be in a boxing match against one of those opponents, and they're all thinking that this guy's just going to get crushed. He's going to get the stuffing knocked out of him. And he said to the group, he says, you know what? He says, you don't quite get it. He says, I've already won. They said, well, how have you already won? You haven't even stepped into the ring yet. And he said, well, let me tell you something. When you're my age, he said, the victory's in the participation. The victory's in the participation. And for anybody out there, no matter what it is, no matter what your age, just go out there, and as Nike says so well, just go out there and do it, because the victory's in the participation. Hey, Tony Leodora, you ready to come up and talk to us a little bit? Hey, and John Pergina, graduate of Plymouth White Marsh High School, Villanova University, a Wildcat. He's currently the associate publisher editor of Golf Styles in Philadelphia, and that's part of 7 magazines owned by the Washington Times. Tony also serves as president of TL Golf Services, and that's a public relations and marketing firm, and that's based in Pennsylvania. It specializes in running golf events, and he runs a great event called the Divine Nine, which will be playing soon in May. He's got a long history in the journalism field, and you can read about it here in the program. He's hosted many golf talk shows at various times on WIP Sports Talk, WNTP 990, ESPN Radio, and Inside Golf Television Show on Comcast Sportsnet. He's received many, many awards, and all deserved, of course, and included our Best Sports Column in 1987, 1988 from the Philadelphia Press Association. The Keystone Press Awards were won twice for Best Column, and International Network of Golf gave Tony several awards throughout the years for his columns and his radio show. And in 1992, he received the prestigious Good Guy Award at the annual Philadelphia Sports Writers Banquet over in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Go figure, but that's where it is. Tony served as president of Philadelphia Sports Writers in 89 and 90, serves in many golf-related committees, such as International Network of Golf Advisory Board, Golf Week's panel rating courses, and he's founder and advisory board member of Montgomery County Coaches Hall of Fame, and many other things. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Tony Leodora.
Thank you, Vince. I guess I'm the first to realize that I'm a very, very lucky man to have worked all these years in a field that I love. I realized how lucky I was as this date grew closer. And then today, this afternoon, I realized that I was even luckier. I came home, and I guess as part of the season preparation, my wife, lovely wife Candy, was in the kitchen making hard-boiled eggs. And she said, Tony, I want you to make love to me right now. Realizing this was the luckiest day of my life, I did as she said. Finished, I said, honey, that was wonderful, but what brought that on? She said, the egg timer broke.
Very good.
You take it when you can get it, I guess. I don't know.
She had to be there.
I'm so lucky to have my family here. Saves me postage. I can hand them their Easter cards. Thanks. I'm so lucky to have so many friends here from the Norristown area. A huge group came in. They all got in their cars. It was sort of like the Cuban boat lift. Remember when Castro cleared the prisons? They're quite a group of characters. 20 minutes after they left, Norristown was declared one of the 10 greatest places to live in America. They figured they couldn't find their way back. Lucky to be on a dais here with so many people that I covered over the years, interviewed. Great friends like Eddie Burke. His parents always prayed that one day he would pass the bar exam, so he bought one. By the way, Eddie, you were a hell of a lot funnier when you were a coach at Drexel and speaking at the Herb Good thing. So lucky to be here with a good friend, Vince Papale, who, as you know, is having this movie made about him, and he's up here with all of these supposed Hall of Famers. I can tell you right now, the real Hall of Famers are those editors at Disney.
I know where you're going. Stop right now.
Hey, I covered you and hung around with you in those days, pal. We're both not going there. Lucky that I had a great mentor friend and boss like Red McCarthy, who got me started in the writing business. A former inductee into this group, the late Red McCarthy, a great guy, who also got me started in golf. I had no interest in golf at all. He told me, you got to play golf. It's the greatest game in the world. It's like sex. You don't have to be good at it to enjoy it. And I guess I'm lucky to be up here to get one of these beautiful plastic wrapped plaques from Vince. It's very reminiscent for both of us. Reminds us of our furniture growing up. And finally, I'm lucky they didn't have one of those winning raffle tickets, because when he talked about the colonoscopy, I thought they were giving a free one out there. So that's it, folks. Believe me, I enjoy writing about these people up here. That's been my life. I've enjoyed every single second of it. Catch some more writing in Golf Styles Philadelphia Magazine. If you're up 7 o'clock Saturday mornings, catch me on Golf Styles Live, the golf show on WNTP 990. And as always, good luck, good sports.
Thank you. Hey, I think we're getting our picture taken. Whoa. Yeah, we got to get our picture taken with our furniture here. That's a great time. I love it. Hey, watch yourself.
Hey, don't look so tall.
Okay, guys, here we go. 1, 2, thanks.
Good job, Tony. You're great.
That's it, then the last two.
You're going to have to explain that egg timer thing, Tony. Being a guy that fell asleep on those plastic slip covers. God, you know what it was? You know, you sweat and you just slide off them. Yes. One of my in-laws. I had plenty of in-laws. All my exes live in Texas, but Jesus, it was the worst thing. You come out of practice, you're just feeling crummy. You fall asleep on that furniture they had, you know, and you just be sliding off. You're just sweating over. Oh, thank you for drawing these winners here. We are both winners up?
Just keep moving.
Okay. Great job, Tony. That was really good. Good stuff. Good segue. Right in the middle. That's what we needed, some humor here. All right, Dr. Jerry D. Kasunis, deceased. Where's the family? Where's everybody? There we go. It's a great story. It's really a phenomenal story. It's America is what it's all about. Jerry, native of Greece, emigrated to the U.S. in 1946 at the age of 17. And while still learning English, he enrolled at Temple University in 1948. And he continued his love of soccer that he played over in Greece. And he became a 4-year member of Temple's nationally ranked soccer squad. And he helped the team win a national championship in 1951. Temple's football game could hope to win a game, but they won a national championship in 1951. In '62, after earning his MD from Thomas Jefferson University, that saved my life, and establishing a medical practice in Roxborough, he volunteered to help the Roxborough High School soccer team, serving as team physician, assistant coach, and mentor for nearly 40 years. He's known as Doc to the generations of youngsters, and he expanded his influence of soccer in the Roxborough community by founding the Roxborough YMCA Soccer Club in 1963, and I think it's still in existence. Jerry's inspiration was greater than just being the man who brought soccer to Roxborough and whose teams captured many championships in the Delaware Valley. His guiding hand was subtle, yet profound as a coach, instructor, mentor, and physician. And together with the YMCA, on whose board he served for more than a decade, Doc promoted the ideals of generosity, character, community spirit, and personal achievement to several generations of Roxborough young men and women, and accepting on Dr. Jerry T. Kusunis' behalf is his nephew, Jim. That's correct? Is it good? Whatever you want, however you feel comfortable. Let me just get my notes. Thanks.
I want to thank the City All-Star Chapter and the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. My uncle, Doc Kusanis, although he's not here in person, I know he's here in spirit, and he's embodied in all of the players and coaches and persons that he loved like family, and they loved him. Many of them are here in a constellation of stars on tables 28 and 30, great soccer players and coaches in their own right. My uncle epitomizes the American dream fulfilled in that he immigrates from Greece in the 40s with little grasp of the language, goes to Temple, graduates from there, goes through pharmacy school, gets a medical degree, starts a medical practice in Roxborough. But what makes him special, I believe, and distinguishes him is that he fulfills the dream, but then begins a lifetime of selfless and endless devotion and caring to others. Pure, voluntary service to others. He would nearly 40 years of service to Roxborough High School. He founds the Roxborough YMCA Soccer Club, and the successor program, the Indians AA, is now an existing and a flourishing program. It is that special calling that he had that I believe is the great legacy that he leaves, because he thereby produced the next generation of soccer coaches and players and teachers who have carried on that tradition of caring and so forth, so that the tradition continues. And that's what I believe makes him important. I believe there are certain people that he would have mentioned, even though he was not one to strive for the limelight or would have wanted this recognition. He would have wanted to mention Coach Jim Howitt, a legendary soccer coach for Roxborough for over 30 years. They formed a coaching and mentoring tandem that I think is unmatched, and had it. Just a quick story, Roxborough High School soccer in the late 50s, I believe, hadn't even scored a goal for a couple years or so. They hooked up in the 60s, and then by 1970 they played for the Public League Championship, lost that year, come back in 71, defeated Frankfurt, and then defeated Doherty to win the city championship. So in a matter of 10 years or so, you can see what type of miraculous work they did. And it's not, at that point, it's not really the players. You couldn't really recruit at that point. It was really something that they put together themselves. The team remained a perennial contender, and it was really a very important and special bond that they formed. Another person is Bill Failing, who's also here. He played for Doc, and now he's devoted most of his lifetime to coaching and directing and managing the successor program, this Roxborough Indians AA soccer club. So Bill himself has grasped the torch that my uncle started, and he's carried it so well. And then finally, the Roxborough YMCA, which is now under very able stewardship with Sean Elliott and and Shannon and Mark, and they're here as well. And they are carrying on this fine tradition for the Roxborough community and families. I'd like to just end to say that I'm accepting this award, and it's a very distinguished award, so thank you for that. But I'm accepting it in the spirit of all those my uncle helped and supported. Thank you.
Just talking to these guys who are sitting up here today. Is Don born and raised in Philadelphia? Graduate of Northeast Catholic High School in 1956. I had the honor of doing the communion breakfast there the other day. That was pretty cool. What a great tradition. And that year he pitched the Falcons to the city title, winning over Central High. Don entered Temple University, and where he pitched on the varsity baseball team, and he graduated in 1960. And then after graduation, he went into teaching as an English teacher in the Philadelphia School District, and also playing baseball from 61 to 66 in several organizations, including those New York Yankees, San Francisco Giants, Cincinnati Reds, and the Oakland A's. And in 1966, Don took teaching and coaching job at Kennedy High School in Willingboro, New Jersey, and after 3 seasons, comes back to Cheltenham High School as a teacher and coach from 68 and 72. And then while still teaching at Cheltenham, he joins on with the legendary Skip Wilson at Temple as an assistant coach. Yeah. Is Coach back there?
Yep.
Oh my God, I should have had you up. Well, we'll get you up after this. All right. So Don then took the head coaching job at Philadelphia Textile, now known as Philadelphia University. He's been there ever since, and he's gone on, and he's got some really great things in his life right now. And he really cares about doing marathons, duathons, and triathlons. I can never figure that one out. And just recently, actually 10 years ago, was inducted in the Temple University Hall of Fame. A great guy, interesting man, second chance on life too. Here he is, Don Flynn. Just take that out of your way.
Thank you, Vince. Can everybody hear me in back? Okay. One of my greatest pleasures tonight has been sitting up at this dais with Vince. I've always admired and respected him for his guts and determination, and to me, he is what an athlete is all about, and I appreciate the time spent with him. I am humbled and honored by my induction tonight. I am privileged to be part of this select group. I offer my congratulations to all the other inductees and their families. My life journey in this evening began as a city row house kid from the Frankfurt-Wissinoming area. My mom was a local Philadelphia girl, and my dad an immigrant from Glasgow, Scotland. My parents were hardworking and unselfish, and they gave their children the most precious gifts of love and discipline. My dad, a soccer player and swimmer in his youth in Scotland, guided us towards athletics. However, his first priority was always education. Two constant variables in my early years were my loving family and my passion for sports. My passion was shared with my older brother Jim, with whom I have spent thousands of hours playing ball in the neighborhood streets, playgrounds, and parks. Jim was not only a good athlete, but also a patient, tolerant, unselfish, giving older brother who contributed greatly to my development and success as an athlete. Jim later would be a collegiate baseball player and swimmer at Temple. My success in baseball was the result of a God-given gift of a strong right arm and the help, counsel, and guidance of a number of individuals. After my dad and my brother, Jim, there are 5 men who had a major influence in my life. Jim Vaca, a Yankee scout who signed me to my first professional contract after a workout at Yankee Stadium. Ed Libertor, a head scout for the Cincinnati Reds and later the Dodgers, who always believed in me and promoted me since I was 16 years old. Jack Cassini, my manager in Cincinnati, who was responsible for having me drafted by the Oakland Athletics Organization. Ernie Cassell, baseball coach and athletic director at Temple University, who recruited me from North Catholic with a full athletic scholarship. Skip Wilson, my coach, my mentor, my teacher, and friend for nearly 50 years. Skip, would you stand up, please? I worked with Skip for 20 years as an assistant, and I could write a book that you would not believe. I thank all of them for their contributions in not only making me a better athlete, but more importantly for making me a more complete and well-rounded human being. Interestingly enough, as my dad and mom look down on us tonight, their greatest pride will result not from their two sons' athletic endeavors and achievements, but in the fact that their two sons each earned doctorate degrees and they have stable and loving families. My mom and dad, through their love and discipline, left our families a legacy that will be perpetuated for generations to come. This legacy is reflected in our families. My brother Jim has two daughters, Allison, a top collegiate swimmer who recently earned a doctorate in psychology, and Trish, a collegiate swimmer and triathlete. My daughter Beth, an educator, is a marathoner and triathlete, and my son, who owns a Scottsdale running company, is a marathoner and Ironman triathlete. In fact, next week, Beth and Michael are both running in the Boston Marathon. My wife Beth, who got tired of watching all of us compete successfully and carrying water bottles, eventually completed 2 marathons, including the Boston Marathon. My parents should truly find great satisfaction in the legacy they initiated over 70 years ago. In closing, I want to thank my wife, Beth. I wish you would stand up, and my family stand up, please. Jim, Michael, please stand up. In closing, I want to thank my wife, my wife, Beth, my daughter, Beth, and my son for sharing me with the athletic world for the past 35 years. Your patience and understanding of those hours spent away from home for a grown man playing little boys' games will always be appreciated. Thank you, everybody, for this wonderful evening. I will remember it always as a very special night.
Thank you, Don. Congratulations. Like a lot of us in this room, all we were was just some kids from the street looking for a chance, right? Dick Vermeil had some of the greatest sayings. One we hated the most was nobody ever drowned in sweat. That was as we were going out into training camp. It was about 95 degrees. He had another saying, which I thought was pretty interesting. The best way to kill time was to work it to death. But the one that I think is apropos for everybody here in this room is this thing called opportunity. And he had a saying that I think is just great. An opportunity is worth to a person exactly what their preparation enables them to make it. And look how many people took advantage of the opportunities given to them in this room. So congratulations, and thanks a lot, Don. I appreciate your kind words. Joe DeMayo. All right. I know the rowdies have been waiting for this one. Well, here's your chance. You ready for this? All right. Are you ready for this? All right, NCAA Division I men's basketball referee for 25 years. He's officiated in the last 13 NCAA tournaments and worked the conference tournaments for the A-10 for 10 years, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference for 12 years, and the Patriot League. 5 times, Joe's officiated a championship game in the Atlantic 10 Conference, in addition to championships games in the MAC, the Patriot League, American East, and he officiates games as well in the Big Ten, the Northeast Conference, and the Ivy League. He began his coaching, like a lot, he did basically in the sandlots, in local recreation leagues, the policemen and firemen, and post office leagues. And then for many years, contrary to popular belief that a referee can't be an athlete, he participated in the sports, both baseball and football. And attending Father Judge High School, he played JV and varsity baseball as a second baseman, and he was quarterback for the football team for 2 years, including playing on a city championship team in 1965. Following his high school sports, Joe was quarterback for Pendle Pro Semi-Pro football for 14 years, including 4 championships, and he was named MVP of the league. Graduates from LaSalle in 1971 with a BA in history, and has worked for the Philadelphia Department of Recreation as a rec leader for the past 35 years. In addition to officiating basketball, he's a commissioner for boys basketball for the Philadelphia Catholic League and the Interact League, and he's held this position for 12 years, and he assigns officials for over 400 games each season, including preseason league, non-league games, and tournaments. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe DeMaio. Congratulations. All right.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the board, I stand before you tonight a very proud and very humbled person. This means a lot to me, a tremendous amount. I'm so proud to know so many good people that are in this room that I've had the opportunity to play with, be coached by, be refereed by. I am humbled to my toes. I would like to say the best for last, but I can't. I have two wishes. I wish my mom and dad were seeing me right now. I really do. That's not possible. My dad would be shocked if he saw me standing up here right now. I got married when I was 27 years old, and I can tell you right up front, I was definitely not Hall of Fame material. I married a girl, a neighborhood girl a couple blocks away, polished me up, shined me up, stood by me, trusted me, allowed me to be a referee, allowed me to follow my avocation. I love her to death. We've been through a lot of good times, hard times. I'm so proud of her. I just wish I'd like to acknowledge my wife, Dolores, now. I got into this I think the best thing I can do right now is be brief, and that's exactly what I intend to do. I got into this officiating business so I could be with my brother, so we could learn to referee together, stay connected together. I watched John and Vince McEnany referee down at Palestra. I thought if they could do it, I could do it. My father took me to West Catholic to watch Tommy DeFelice when he was a senior in high school, and I tried to follow Tommy's footsteps. I try to emulate him. I don't want to make a mistake tonight by forgetting somebody that I really appreciate and have a lot of thanks for, so I'm not going to get into the names and stuff, but there's one thing in common that everyone in this room has, and it's a love for sports. And to be known as a Philly kid is the proudest, biggest compliment that anybody could ever pay me. We all have this passion for sports, and to live in the city of Philadelphia, to be a part of the sports world in the city, no matter where I go across the country. You know what I mean? I always said the best thing about New York was leaving it. The best thing about Philadelphia was coming home. I've been given a task. I had a great run in college basketball, 25 years, but the thing that I loved the most was when I was a high school referee in Philadelphia. The rivalries, the neighborhood rivalries, the passion that the kids played with, just to be in Philadelphia, to be a Philadelphian is beyond words as far as I'm concerned. I grew up in the Sunny Hill League, people like T. Shields. I watched these guys take young kids from the street and make men of them. It was tremendous to be a part of. Officiating's taught me a lot of things in life. Tolerance, patience, compassion. Now I'm an assigner, and it's my job to identify some of these guys in the back of the room that came out to support me tonight, to make sure that those guys get the same chance that I got. I'm not going to bore you with any more details. I love all yous to death. I want to thank all yous for coming out and supporting me tonight. I'm so proud to be a part of this. I had one of the greatest high school games ever. Frankfurt played West Philly, 4 overtimes. Vince Miller, a guy I love dearly, head coach, tough act on the court, but a gentleman off of it. A gentleman off of it. Sports has taught me so much, I can't tell you. I had so many good memories. Mr. McArdle was my baseball coach. Dapper Walsh, I wanted to be like. There's just so much I can't even begin to tell you right now. I want to thank every one of you for coming out and supporting me, for supporting this great event. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Okay, guys, we're going to do 2, 1, 2. Okay.
All right. Okay, do him.
One, two.
All right, great job, Joe. All right. Wasn't that great? Right from the heart. Oh, man, you got to love it. That's so beautiful. Thank you. And you guys back there that just came to support him, you got your job set for next year. Everything is going to be fine.
Maybe.
Maybe, he says. Oh, man, I tell you, how we wish this guy was with the Philadelphia Eagles, because what a career he had with that other team out there.
Cowboys.
Yes. That's Cowboys. Man, now you got to be proud of him, though. He's a Philly guy. Jim Cooper. Let's hear it for Jim Cooper. I love it. Cardinal Doherty High School grad, 6 letterman in track, basketball, and football. I just don't do that anymore, right? He's under the mentoring of coaches Jack Boyle and Bob Harrington. He was fortunate to be considered for several collegiate athletic scholarships and opportunities, and he winds up going to Temple University, staying right at home on a football scholarship, and he plays under Wayne Hardin. 4 years collegiate football competition, and during his senior year at Temple University, several NFL scouts had been looking at him, but he thought, no way, this is just a dream. This isn't going to happen. He works with his dad in the drum business. But then, when you know it, the fickle hand of fate strikes in 1977, when in the 6th round, he's drafted by those dreaded Dallas Cowboys. And when you know what the irony is, the Eagles, they say this, right? Well, we were going to pick him if he was still on the board, right? But that didn't happen. And he winds up, and then, I guess the last day of camp or something, you get cut, and then he goes with the Denver Broncos, ready to go to the Broncos. Gil Brandt sees him, he brings him back to the Cowboys, has a great career with the Cowboys, and winds up with a Super Bowl ring, ironically, in a victory over those Broncos, and he just showed me that Super Bowl ring. So he was going through on that yo-yo. He enjoyed 10 great, successful years with the Dallas Cowboys under the legendary Tom Landry, competing in 2 Super Bowls, 5 NFC Championships games during his career. From Temple University, Cardinal Doherty High School, Jim Cooper, ladies and gentlemen. Love you, baby. You're the man.
Germantown. Yeah. I'm here tonight to obviously thank the board and for this induction, and Jerry McGinn, I believe you're the man responsible. I thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's been 30 years since I've been living in different states here, and it's nice to come back to Philly. Great to be back and see a lot of these guys I played. I remember not only the pickup football games and basketball games and Rough Touch in Germantown, Longcrest. All these guys are here tonight, so it brings back a lot of good memories. I mean, it was part of my life. I mean, football, basketball, track, summer league basketball, the whole routine. And these guys can all take a piece of this back with them because they developed me into what I turned into. So, thank you guys. And two coaches I really like to acknowledge tonight. Bob Harrington, who is one of your members, who's no longer with us, and Jack Boyle, my high school football coach. You got to understand, I was a senior in high school, and I'm sure you all can relate to this. You had no clue what you wanted to do with your life. All of a sudden, the time's running out, and what are you going to do? You got options, but you're not really sure what you want to do. And I was thinking about maybe playing a little basketball at a smaller school, and enjoying the college life, and maybe throwing the shot put, which I did for track, and a couple options. But Jack and Bob took me out one night. They called me and said, we're going to have a meeting. And I said, okay. They took me out and got me into a restaurant and got me in a little corner booth, and I sat in the middle. They had me cornered in. They said, we're going to talk. And I said, okay. And then couple hours later, Jack's voice was getting louder. Bob's face was getting redder. I wasn't listening. You know, what else is new? You know, your life's good. And they said, you're going to go play football and you're going to Temple. And I was like, okay. Yeah, I still was arguing with him. You know, I was like, I don't know. You know, let's see what happens. And so lo and behold, I left that. You know, if I didn't give in, I guess, you know, several hours later, I don't think I still would have been sitting there to this moment. But I said, you know what, you guys are right. I need to go give it a try. And I was kind of intimidated by the fact is at track, we were up at Temple and they were having their spring game, and these guys are huge. I mean, you know, I'm here in the high school kid, and I'm probably 210 pounds soaking wet, and these guys are 280 running around. I'm like, man, you know, I don't need this aggravation. So, but you know, they talked to me, and that night I left, and lo and behold, I found out behind the scenes they had gone to Temple, talked to the coaches, sold them on me, and they did such a great job that Temple offered me a full scholarship. And that was, you know, the beginning of the road to a lot of other things that we talked about, the Cowboys and Temple. And so I thank you, Jack and Bob. I know Bob's family's here, Roger and the group up there, and I thank you guys for leading me down the right path. I really appreciate it. And I think that's a lot about what these people up here tonight are all about. They care about people, they want to help them, and you know, that's the beauty of all this. We're here to, you know, raise funds and help people through life and lead them in the right direction. So thanks again to the board here and all you for coming out tonight. And I'd like to thank my friends who are here, and I'm sure they're going to be here for a while, if I know them. My family, my kids, they came up. I told them to stay in Charlotte. They got supposed to be in school. They don't listen to me. They listen to their mother, of course. She's the boss. My mom's here tonight. My parents, you know, I wish my dad could be here. He passed away about a year ago, but my mom's here tonight. Thank you for all your love and support through the years. And, you know, my family and my wife of 30 years. She's an Olney girl. Grew up, went to Doherty. Love of my life, my best friend. So thank you, and thanks for all the memories. And God bless everybody. And we'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Oh, how great was that? Coop could have gone anywhere, but he chose Temple, right? Absolutely. Hey, you know what? Before we introduce our last honoree, I would like to, if we would, we need to make a recognition for this guy right here. He's just so understated. In another life, you see him with the orange glove on at the NFL games because he's there as the stage manager. But this is the guy that's the President City All-Star. He's just so dedicated to the kids and to the scholarship, to this event, to the Hall of Fame. Everything about this is because of the leadership from Milt Halstead. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you say? A big round of applause for Milt Halstead. He is the man. Well, we found out a little bit about this guy, about him being on the sideline, but I don't believe it because he seems to be like a nice, gentle grandfather here, as I'm watching his granddaughter going back and forth. But Vince Miller. Vince Miller. All right. That was great. Yeah, man. That's Philly. Isn't it great? Overbrook High School, Vince attends, and he graduates in 1955. And during that time, a member of 3 Public League Championship basketball teams, eventually winning 2 city title championships. Oh, geez. I mean, look at his teammates. He's got the great Wilt Chamberlain and Ira Davis, the Olympian, 1954-55 teams, and they were selected by the Philadelphia Daily News as the best in scholastic history. And in that 1955 title game, Vince hit 15 field goals, finishing with 31 points. They didn't have the 3-point back there. That's 15 field goals. and that's a field goal record that still stands today. After graduation, Vince continued his basketball career at North Carolina A&T in a full basketball scholarship, and in 1959, A&T competed in the NCAA tournament for small colleges in Evansville, Indiana, making it to the Final Four, eventually finishing third when they would have those consolation games there if you didn't get into the Final Two. And then between his departure from A&T and his arrival in the Philadelphia school system, he'd go on to teach for 36 years, continuing his coaching career at both the Sunny Hill and the Baker Summer Leagues, where he coached the likes of Billy Cunningham, John Baum, and Joe Bryant, of course Kobe's dad, to numerous championships. And his coaching experience eventually landed him a head coaching job at Frankfurt High School, at a position he's held for 29 years. 357 career victories, 2 back-to-back public league championships, has a distinction of being the only person in the history of Philadelphia high school basketball to win back-to-back title championships as both a player and then a coach. Now retired, he's on the board of directors for the Wilt Chamberlain Memorial Fund, dedicated to assisting inner city youth. Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Miller. We're going to do the official stuff and then it's all yours.
One more. Thank you.
Go get him. Congratulations. Knock him dead, Vince.
Thank you, Vince. First of all, I'd like to know, how did you get this order of introduction? I got my own private photographer here. I thought he'd be going. It costed me money.
Does he charge you by the hour?
By the hour. But I like to start off by saying, when I attended college, they told me to take a speed writing course. Little did I know it should have been a speed speaking course, because I know I can't get finished in 3 minutes. But Joe DeMeo, I know you have your whistle, because you used to call a lot of texts on me. So if I go over 3 minutes, get that whistle out and blow it. Listen, I'd like to start off by thanking a gentleman named Blinky Brown. He was my recreation leader at Haddington Recreation Center. And when we moved out in West Philly, they opened up this new center. And we thought we were in heaven because we had a new recreation center. And along with the late, great Wilt Chamberlain, Blinky gave us our first experience in organized basketball. So Blinky Brown, who is not here, I'd like to thank him. Later, I moved on to Overbrook High School, and I had the privilege of playing for the great Cecil Moseson, who came from Temple University, one of the youngest coaches to ever coach, and he inherited Wilt Chamberlain, which made him a great coach. On that team, I like to acknowledge one of my teammates that was hit with us 50 years ago on that great team at Overbrook. Jimmy Sadler's here. He was a teammate 50 years ago with me. Next, I moved on to North Carolina A&T, where I received a scholarship, and I had the privilege of playing with the great Al Addles, who is now the vice president of the Golden State Warriors, and we had some great teams there. The coach was Cal Irving, and as it stated, we went on to the NCAAs, and we did a good job finishing third, losing to the great Jerry Sloan, coach, who was playing for the Evansville Aces. My first coaching position came after I went to grad school at A&T, and that was my first paying job. My coach, he gave me an assistant coaching job at A&T, and that's where I started to get my experience in coaching. I moved on back after leaving A&T and came back to Philly and I joined the Charles Baker League and Sunny Hill League in coaching. And I'd like to thank Sunny Hill and the Charles Baker League and my good friend T. Shields, who I had many battles against when he was coaching South Philly and I was coaching West Philly. Pro position. I got a pro position with the late, great Eddie Gottlieb, the mogul. Gave me my first experience in the pro level. I went to Eddie and I said, Eddie, I know a guy that is fast as Guy Rogers. And if many of you that know, Guy Rogers probably was one of the fastest with the ball that ever had came through Philadelphia. And Eddie looked at me like I was crazy. So I had to tell Eddie a little white lie. I said, Eddie, he's about 6'3", but he's fast. Al was only about 6 foot 6'1". Eddie drafted him, never heard his name before because of me. He gave me a job. Adams went on. The first draft pick that year was the great Pickles Kennedy from Temple. And Al was a 4th round draft choice. He beat Pickles Kennedy out and won the job with the Philadelphia Warriors. Eddie came to me. He said, Vince, I'm going to give you a job. He gave me, that day was a lot of money. Eddie, you know the mogul was tight. Anybody know the mogul? Anybody know the mogul? He was tight. The mogul gave me $750 bonus, and I thought I was rich. But Eddie Gottlieb, God rest his soul, gave me my first experience with pro basketball. Now I'd like to move on to the Frankfurt community. I came to Frankfurt High School some 45 years ago, and I've been in the community. I'm all right, Joe?
Yep.
No whistle yet?
As long as you want to.
And I've been in the Frankfurt community for 45 years, and they've supported me, the community I love, and they know who I'm talking about. I'm going to break the tradition just a little, and I hope you bear with me just a minute. I like for all my players or managers that play for me to stand up. Would you do that for me, please, in just a second? Remain saying in just a minute. I want to say this to you. When they played for me, we used to have a little thing, and I used to tell them, jock check. They know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to tell you all tonight, I want a jock chat. If you don't have a jock on, you got 25. That's a little joke that if they, you know, kids coming up, they didn't used to like to wear jock straps. They always wanted their underwear sticking on. I was particular about having a jock on. So during the middle of practice, I'd make them pull down their pants. Let's have a jock chat. And if you didn't have a jock, you had 25 laps. So that was that joke. Okay. My siblings, I'd like to thank my brother is here and my sister is here. They're both there. And my in-laws, I have my sister-in-law here. I have my daughter-in-law with my lovely son, my great son who played for me. So you know he must have been tough. To play for me, your own father, you got to be tough. But my son is here. And you already met my my love of my life, my granddaughter, little Gina. And my grandson is also here. I want to thank him. And my daughter, she's my heart. My daughter Gloria is here. And I have a couple other people. Am I right, Joe?
Yep.
Okay. I got a couple
Just like
other.
when we were playing.
I got a couple other people that I want to acknowledge, because when you have somebody that comes from Chicago, Illinois, when I told him I was being inducted into this Hall of Fame, he said, Vince, I want to be here with you. And another one, he was a teammate and a classmate at North Carolina A&T some 50 years ago. And they came, one came from Chicago, one came from Cincinnati, one came from North Jersey, and My roommate is here, Joe Howe, who was a great player, all public at West Philadelphia High School, and they hated us. I think in 3 years at West Philly, they lost 6 games, all to Overbrook. But anyway, I thank those guys. Could y'all just raise your hand that came in and all here with me? And last but not least is my lovely wife, Gloria. Most of my players know her as Mom, and she's always protecting them. If they have problems with me, which they had a lot, they would go to her, and she would come back and say, give them another chance, give them another chance. So she was like my assistant coach, and she's been with me, and I love her dearly. Okay, I'd like to thank all the inductees here. It's a pleasure and a great honor to go in with you guys. And I want to give you one last thing. We were living in North Philadelphia, and my father was taking my brother and I to West Philly, and they had this carnival there. And this carnival, they had some racing. I was the younger brother. My brother was older. My father said, boy, get in that race. And my brother ran on over there and got in the race, took off like lightning and won. And my father said, at the end, they were giving out their awards. He came over there, he said, that's my boy. So I know up there in heaven today, he's saying, this is my boy.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank Vince for being the MC tonight. I want you to give... What?
Vince Miller.
Vince Papali, not Vince Miller.
Am I done?
Vince said enough. I didn't steal the mic from you, Vince. I really want to thank Vince Papali for coming tonight, giving up his time, and he did a great job, and we'd like to give him a round of applause, please. I also want to give all the award winners one last round of applause. And in closing, I would like all of you to become members of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, the Philadelphia chapter. We need the money, we need the income, and we need it for the scholarship fund. With that, I want you to have a safe trip home. Be careful, drive slow, drive careful. Wait a minute, we ain't done, don't get up. I want to bring Mr. Murray up, and he's going to give us the benediction. God bless all of you, and thank you for coming.
Great job, Mel. Thank you very much.
Very quickly. Can I have your attention for one more quick one? Blessed are you, O Lord our God. You have showered on us your many gifts. We thank you for the many gifts of this day, for the men and women who have gathered here tonight. We have come together to celebrate athletic achievement, dedication, loyalty, and most of all, to celebrate the tradition of Pennsylvania athletics. Lord, you give us so much that is good. We ask you to continue to bless our organization. Bless us with a real sense of gratitude, for we know that nothing is possible without you. Keep us focused on honoring men and women who have made a very real difference in this world. And lastly, Lord, we pray for peace in a world that must give you some very real concern over how we live and treat one another. Lord, watch over us and give us safe home. We ask all this in your name, one God, forever and ever. Amen.